So good afternoon, everyone. So marvelous to be here for our last afternoon session at the Mount Shasta Chela gathering here. And we're just having such a good time. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful morning with Peter and Scott. And all those videos will be available on the YouTube channels. And it's just, we're all feeling so very, very blessed to be here and work together. And now we get to have beloved Anthea's dear sister presentation. And yeah, so I just love her to bits. And anyway, so she's going to talk about beloved Sanat Kumara. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I will sit because I think it's easier. And then, right. Yeah, so I just, because it just is very dear to my heart, Sanat Kumara, and I'm sure to all of us, because really, if it wasn't for Sanat Kumara, we wouldn't be here. And for those of us that don't know, but I'm sure all of you know, but maybe some people on the YouTubes that won't know, you know, it was a time where the earth was actually going to be dissolved, because the law is that we receive, we expand the kingdom, and we give out. And the earth was not emitting light for a long, long time, even though a lot of grace had been given. And actually the reason for this was, in the beginning, everything was going really well. We had the first 3 root races that actually did their ascension in the allotted 14,000 years, where they incarnated, most of them once every 2,000 years, to master a ray. And they did their ascension in that time. And it was then that there were some laggard souls that were not actually keeping up with the evolution of their own planets. And they were actually in planets actually apparently above, in the solar systems above our Earth's solar system. They were not keeping up, and they were no longer compatible with their planet. They were looking for a place to continue their evolution. And that was when the hierarchy of the earth came in, and it was maturing the Lemurian age, and said, well, we'll take some of these. And actually what happened was they were hoping that the so-called laggard souls, as they called them, lagging behind in evolution, would take on the consciousness of the earth people, the pure earth people at the time. But over actually 1 million years, it was called in Genesis, is referred to as the mist, where they actually the earth people started becoming curious. And they then started actually falling, and they became sense conscious instead of God conscious. They lost their connection to their own I am presence. And that was when the whole sort of fall of man came. And that's what we have been struggling to get out of ever since. And I believe right now we are in this cosmic moment where it's literally a drawing of the line in the sand, and everybody has a final choice to make, whether they wish to carry on with our beloved earth, which is going into this cosmic inbreath. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. But so the earth took on these laggard souls, and that was a time, and it was a time when things started getting very, very dark. There was a time even when we forgot even how to make fire. We were literally like hairy cavemen. They had the ice age, which is just obviously an outpicturing of man's cold, bitter heart, because the elemental kingdom outpictures what we give off, what we give out, because that's their vow. Elemental, they give off, because we are vested with that threefold flame, sons and daughters of Alpha and Omega, our Father, Mother, God. And so it was at that time, there was a big council held, and the earth was actually going to be dissolved. And beloved Sanat Kumara attended that. Now, Sanat Kumara with Lady Venus, they're the head of the hierarchy of Venus. And it was his great gift and his offering. And I'm actually going to read from the beloved Maha Chohan, because their words are so much better than ours. And so I'm going to read from beloved Maha Chohan, from Law of Life and Teachings by Divine Beings, from which Alice compiled, God bless her heart. And this is what he said. So this was in 1957. He said, a sun council was called when the earth had reached its lowest ebb, when there seemed no possibility for it to contribute to the light of the solar system. At this conference among the suns of this galaxy, it was decided that the planet Earth would be returned to primal essence because it was contributing no light, no music, no constructive radiation to the universe of which it was a part. It was thought best to dissolve this planet, conserving life, returning the substance of the planet itself for re-polarization into the heart of Helios and Vesta. So they're the head of our sun. And there are 7 suns in our solar system, in our universal system, sorry, with each with a solar system. So there are 7 solar systems in our universe, each with 7 planets in their solar system. So there's 49 planets in our universe, a very small universe. And Earth is one of the smallest planets, and yet a very, very important planet, because we actually took on, in the beginning, just a small amount of these laggard souls. But I think what actually happened, as beloved Amora said, boatloads of these laggard souls eventually started coming in, boatloads after boatloads. And we were told that the earth was actually made for approximately 3.5 billion souls. Now, we know from what the Ascended Masters have told us that 10 billion souls are now evolving on this planet. Not all of them in incarnation. The rest are either had their chance or else they're waiting for incarnation. Which means, if you work it out, that 6.5 billion are not even from this planet. Wow. So that is why so much love, so much care, and so much extra energy is being given this planet, because we've had a long, long journey. And it's thanks to those great way showers. And the first, really the first one, was Sanat Kumara. God bless his mighty heart. Anyway, it says here, Lord Sanat Kumara was one among the other great and divine beings from other stars, suns, and universes who attended the council, where they were going to dissolve the planet. He went home to his planet, determined in his heart to help the earth. He did not sit in his courtyard, surrounded by magnificent beings, the Kumaras, the angels, the Devas, and his own people in proximity to his beloved divine complement Venus, and just think, it's too bad to see the earth and all that belongs to it discarded. No, Sanat Kumara, even one of the greatest of the mystics, had learned the law of balance as well as love, and he pondered within himself what he might do to sustain the earth's place in the system. He didn't just say he's going to accept it. He said, I'm going to go and do something. He asked for the opportunity to give to the earth his radiation and light, to act through his developed capacities of thought, feeling, and action as Lord of the world for his earth, which was Venus. This request was granted. That was Lord of the earth. I beg your pardon. He came down here as Lord of the world. Yeah. When he returned to his home star Venus, he made the announcement of his offer, and many of those who loved him well offered to precede him to earth and prepare a suitable dwelling for him. And I think many of us know what happened. There's 900 years. There's all those embodiments of those beloved ones had to come. The 30 from Venus that came before him. My goodness. And they held that vision of that golden city in their consciousness. They came from all different places, a lot from America. And they ended up in the Gobi Desert, which wasn't actually the Gobi Desert then.
I don't understand what you just said. So 30 came down preceding.
Yes.
And what did they do?
They actually created this beautiful city of the Golden City, on White Island, which was where the Gobi Desert is now. But it wasn't a Gobi Desert. It was actually an inland sea then. Yeah. There was a beautiful island there, which they called White Island. And the laggards used to come down, apparently, and destroy their work. Then they had to reincarnate again, remember what they'd started, and start all over again. Mm-hmm. It was a journey and they didn't stop. 900 years they built it. And then there's like a cosmic moment, ready or not. The pole star shone, that 5-pointed star rose up and Sanat Kumara, but they were ready. They were ready for their beloved, yeah. Lady Venus made the great sacrifice when she felt the great affinity to his feeling world, his desire to come to earth. She made the sacrifice of representing father and mother for planet Venus to give him freedom. For 4.5 million years, she did that. Also an activity that took life, energy, and work in magnetizing the feminine and masculine aspect to keep an entire planetary evolution progressing for millions of years. God bless her mighty heart forever. The Kumaras, my goodness, just so marvelous. Anyway, I want to read another little bit here. This is all from beloved Elmira as Thomas Prince, okay? So this is what he says here. This is from the building of Shambhala, and Sanat Kumara leaves his home planet Venus. And that's where the 5-pointed star came in. So in Eastern Asia, there stretches a great desert today over the land used by the Venetian brothers as the habitat of their cosmic lord. All right. It is now known as the Gobi Desert, as it was and was at that time a beautiful inland sea, in the center of which lay a lovely green and shining island, which they called White Island, and which was to be the site for the building of the ageless Shambhala, the home of celestial love. Sanat Kumara is known as the great Lord of love of the universe. What greater love, sacrifice. The 30 volunteers from Venus who had tied their soul's light into the wheel of Earth's evolution began the great task of building on the White Island a temple of light to be the home of Sanat Kumara and his lieutenants. Laboring for over 900 years, passing from the outworn earthly bodies, but to return without the spiritual respite of heavenly rest, they completed the old domed temple, the perfection of the white city that was to be the marvel of the earth for centuries to come. How can mere words clothe the constancy of the service in a form that can convey the fidelity of those 30 beings of flame, the lords of the flame from Venus? Finally, all was in readiness. The hour of Earth's initiation was come. The karmic lords had bowed before the august presence of Sanat Kumara and his 3 lieutenants and awaited in love their visitation. Nature and man's elect were ready. The stars and suns of the system for a moment were stilled, and the supreme sacrifice in silence was effected. Out from the aura of Venus, the first great rosy glow of the expanding aura of the Kumaras began to suffuse the sky and the glory of a celestial dawn. Then upward soared a great 5-pointed star, until it stood suspended above the planet Venus, intensifying the aureole of colors. All the souls on Venus knew that any cosmic activity of the great Kumaras was pre-staged by the presence of the star, which appeared to herald announcements or decrees of the lords of the flame, which would affect the progress of the great Venetian state. Every heart on Venus was focused on that star, waiting its message of the hour. Slowly and majestically, there rose into the rays of the star 4 shining golden figures that stood for a moment, pouring out their blessing and their heart's deepest love to the planet of their birth. Little did their children know the deep feeling in the hearts of the Kumaras as they bade their star goodbye, not for a lifetime, but for untold, uncertain centuries, yet unborn from the womb of time. Then there rose a burst of sound, and the people of Venus, for the first time in the history of the planet, saw the star began to move outward toward the periphery of the sphere. Within it, moving slowly and majestically, were the 5 figures of the solar lords. All fell on their knees, and a beautiful hymn of blessing and love rose from the inhabitants of Venus tinged with the great sadness of parting, enfolding the departing figures in a mantle of most sacred love. Thus, the 4 Kumaras left the light of Venus for the shadow of the Earth's aura. Of the 7 Kumaras, 4 sacrificed themselves for the sins of the world and the instruction of the ignorant to remain till the end of the present Manvatara. Don't quite know what that means. But oh, how different the reception was from the parting. The earth was spinning darkly on her bended axis. No hearts were upraised. There was no song of welcome or gratitude. Ah, yes, 30 small pinpoints of light, like faint flickering candles, guided the cosmic master's descent, and slowly and majestically, the great pink aura blanketed the earth. What was the sudden comfort and hope and peace that entered into the hearts of men? What caused the withered flowers to raise their heads, the birds to sing with new sweetness, the children to laugh again? What was this mysterious unseen ether that entered into the very atmosphere of the earth? Only 30 waiting spirits knew, as they knelt in reverent love before the smiling presence of their longed-for Lord. Ah, Sanat Kumara, Lord of love, one day shall we return you and your shining band to your own beloved star, and as you go, the shining light of earth will be a mighty crest that carries you triumphant, leaving us a star of freedom, accepted by the cosmic law as a permanent focus of blessing in our system through your love. And as we know, after all those millions of years, it was in January of 1956 that Sanat Kumara finally went home after all those millions of years. And it was mainly, I mean, obviously the I am activity was very important, but it was through the transmission flame service, that breath work, which we're going to learn now, tying in with the cosmic in-breath and the rhythmic breath that we are now learning to use again, that actually really saved the planet. Because it was even in 1952 that an ultimatum was given to the hierarchy of the earth that Sanat Kumara had to return to Venus. And it was then that the great Maha Chohan came in with the transmission flame service. And it is just a marvelous, marvelous service. And we do it every month in our sanctuary. And so what it is the unascended Chelas working cooperatively and consciously with the ascended masters, transmitting the flame of the retreat currently open. It's a focus of a retreat. For instance, right now we are focused on divine love. It's a beautiful temple. There's the one over in Mount Robson above the Canadian Rockies, and there's also one in the above the New England state, somewhere in America. I don't quite know where. But consciously breathing in that. And every day we do it. Antoinette projects those mighty rays of divine love. Because there it is. Ask and we receive. You consciously direct them into the great grids around the planet, into every human heart, into all the elementals. Just such a wonderful opportunity. But that service created so much light. In just 4 years of the allotted 20, they gave 20 years from 1952 to 1962, but in 1956, 4 years after, there was enough light being emitted from our earth for Sanat Kumara to return back to Venus. But great Lord Gautama, one of the original ones of the 30, I believe, Gautama and Lord Maitreya were one of the original. They stayed, and he was ready to take the place of Sanat Kumara as great Lord of the world. And apparently their causal bodies were like 2 pieces of an orange. And beloved Lord Gautama, God bless him forever.
That's the Buddha.
The Buddha, yeah. But so the planetary Buddha, so a Buddha's an office, you see. So a Buddha is so getting the information from the higher realm in a way that the lower realm can understand. That's what the office of the Buddha has to do. So Lord Maitreya is now the current, as far as we know, the current planetary Buddha. Unless he's moved on and we've got a new one, we don't know. But anyway, so that's it. So now we're going to so we're going to understand now that we are in, which we haven't really covered, but we're in this cosmic in-breath. So everything is rising in vibration. The planets are rising in vibration. All the life on all the planets, the great central suns, everything is kind of moving in this great cosmic in-breath. And that's what the ascended masters have called the present planetary crisis. And that's where we are now. That's why there is so much. That's why Saint Germain came in the 30s. Elmora came in the 50s. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Get yourselves ready. Get close to your own presence. Help your brothers and sisters.
Could you just explain again what the crisis is?
We're in the cosmic in-breath. So we need to be compatible with the raising of vibration of our planet. Yeah. So we're going to play this one where we're going to listen to, it's not very long, it's a good explanation of the cosmic in-breath on the whole planet.
This is instruction on magnetization, radiation, and the rhythmic breath, as given by the beloved Maha Chohan in the Bulletin Book 1 from the Bridge to Freedom material. Beloved children seeking the way home. There are two main activities of life, the in-breath and the out-breath. It is so simple, and yet so much has been woven into and around it through the study of so-called mysticism. In the two activities of breathing, you have the magnetization of the gifts and powers of the presence through the in-breath, and the radiation of its love, wisdom, and power through the out-breath. This is the same activity that takes place at cosmic levels with regard to suns, planets, systems, and galaxies. All operate on the rhythmic motion of the in-breath and the out-breath. We have endeavored from time to time to give you a glimpse of the working of the cosmic scheme to which we belong, so that you may comprehend the place in which our galaxy stands at the present time. At the beginning of a cosmic day, before a new universe comes into being, the central sun in charge of the system breathes out the lesser suns that are to assist it in the evolution of its system. This it does in a perpendicular motion, something like dinner plates, piled one on top of the other. Only, of course, in this cosmic picture, there is a tremendous distance between the suns mentioned. Now, these lesser suns, in turn, breathe out the planets, which will make up its galaxy in a horizontal motion. At the end of the cosmic day, the great central sun notifies the lesser suns that it is time for the inbreathing of their planets in preparation for the time when it, the great central sun, will again absorb the entire system back into itself after the lesser suns with their planets have evolved into the full perfection of itself. In obedience to the fiat of the great central sun, each of the lesser suns of the system begins the great cosmic in-breath, drawing the planets of its galaxy closer to itself, until one by one they are absorbed into the sun which breathed them forth. Of course, this takes eons of time, and this is just the briefest sketch of what is taking place at cosmic levels at the present time. At the end of the cosmic day, the great central sun will have breathed into itself all of the suns which it projected forth, and the lesser suns, in turn, will have breathed back into themselves all the planets which they are responsible for, with all of the life upon them expressing the full perfection for which they were created in the beginning. In occult circles, this activity is known as a day and night of Brahm. Now, beloved ones, I know that this seems a little difficult for the outer mind to understand, and the only reason I mention it at all is on account of the cosmic hour in which we stand. We are preparing for the first in-breath from Helios and Vesta, our sun, in which they breathe in the first planet of our system. As the first planet is absorbed into the sun of its system, the entire planetary system moves nearer to its sun automatically, and the closer proximity to the sun naturally increases the vibration of all the life upon the planet. Incidentally, the laggards mentioned so frequently were those life streams on the various planets who were not ready or willing to move forward with their planets on one of these cosmic initiations, and so the beloved Earth offered them refuge. Some of these laggards came from planets in systems higher than our own. You must also understand that this horizontal motion, in fact all cosmic motions, are gradual until the final day of initiation comes, when the life on every planet in every system must vibrate at the necessary high rate that its advanced position calls for. Now, this cosmic picture of the in-breath and out-breath of deity is an exact duplicate of the activity you follow in your daily breathing. The out-breath of the cosmic scheme has been completed, and the in-breath is well underway. On every planet, in every system, there is a tremendous activity as their evolutions get ready to meet the initiations through which each expression of life must pass as their planets are drawn nearer to their suns. This is also the reason for the Ascended Master's tremendous interest in the evolution of the life upon this planet at the present time, and how essential it is that we must find some way and means to convey to the student body at least the necessity for the acceleration of the vibratory action of their mental, emotional, etheric, and physical bodies, in the hope that they may cooperate with us in radiating to the balance of mankind not the knowledge of suns and planetary schemes, this information being given you for your own personal enjoyment, but the love, peace, forbearance, and wisdom which it is necessary that all people must generate if they are to go forward with their planet and help her in her hour of initiation. St. Paul spoke of the quick and the dead. The quick are really those whose vibratory action is more rapid. There are various ways and means of accelerating the vibratory action of your inner and flesh bodies. One of the greatest of these is the use of the rhythmic breath, of which I have been an exponent, devotee, and teacher for ages of time, because it is the rhythm of creation. When you draw the energy of life into the flame of your heart and send it forth again on the breath, you begin to come into harmony with the natural rhythm that is in every activity of nature, in the rising and setting of the sun, in the rise and fall of the tide, in the changing of the seasons. All of these activities takes place in absolute, unbroken rhythm. The golden ages where mankind have known the greatest peace, the greatest illumination, the greatest bodily health, the greatest beauty, and the greatest opulence, were ages when the natural rhythm of life was observed, not only in breathing, but in every facet of expression. Now, beloved ones, I ask you to watch yourselves, even in a small process like walking, and see whether you are moving with the rhythm of the music of the spheres. See when you talk whether your speech is staccato, too rapid, or whether it is rhythmic and beautiful. Watch your gestures and see if they are graceful and rhythmic, or whether they are harsh and breaking that rhythm of creation. Watch yourself in your breathing and see if your breath is slow, measured, and deep, or whether it is shallow, panting, and gasping. When these imperfect physical manifestations are evident, you will know that you are not within the proper rhythm of your own being, and as you begin to correct yourself in small things, in ascending a flight of stairs, in the process of preparing a meal, in clothing yourself, in going out upon your daily routine of business, by car or otherwise, you will find, for one thing, that you will not become so exhausted as you seem to get now in the outer. For another thing, you will find better health in your body. You will find a greater spiritual equipoise in your mind and consciousness. You will find greater beauty and youthfulness in your physical form, and last, and perhaps not least, you will be more comfortable for others to live with. This, I can tell you, beloved ones, is the whole law of life, the rhythm of magnetization and radiation. If there is too much magnetization of power and not an equal radiation of love and blessing, again you have broken the rhythm. If there is too much blessing and ministration without enough magnetization of power from the source of all the good by which you live, there is depletion and exhaustion. In other words, all of mankind's distress, disintegration, disharmony, and decay is a result of broken rhythm. All life on the planet today, beloved ones, needs comfort. Practice the sending out of a conscious radiation of comfort into all the turbulent and angry emotions that rise up here and there and very often express themselves in self-righteous yet chaotic thought patterns. Practice sending peace into these rebellious etheric memories of the past and into the tremendous subconscious fears that are seeping up toward the surface of people's lives as the transmuting power of the sacred fire plays upon them during this period of planetary unrest. Now, beloved ones, as an exercise, I will ask you each one to make a conscious effort to keep as much rhythm as you can in your life this coming week, your voice, in your work, in your walk, in your service, in your adoration and realization. If you will faithfully do this, it will give me an opportunity to pour my radiation through you so that you too may be a comforting presence to all life.
So, what I want to do is I actually just want to read, just before we leave, really deep gratitude for beloved Sanat Kumara and all the beloved ones from Venus. Really, we wouldn't be here without them. I want to just read about what Moira says on the topic, because you know how Moira can open your heart. He's got this marvelous way of just opening our hearts. Yeah. And so this is what he says. He says, because don't forget, Sanat Kumara could have gone back many times back to Venus, but because of his great love and because he was so involved with all the life on this planet, it was really a part of his great love. And this is what Elmora says about him. What consciousness would stand at the fall of every golden age? And we've had many golden ages on this planet. If you think of the Garden of Eden, Edon meaning divine wisdom, when we lived according to divine wisdom in that time, and the root races that have already ascended, we've had many golden ages, but often, like at the time of, for instance, when Saint Germain was running in this, what was now the Sahara Desert, that great civilization 70,000 years ago, when he could have ascended himself then, but he chose not to. He came back again and again. But all those times when Sanat Kumara could have gone home, he chose to stay because again, man turned away and became sense conscious. And he says, what consciousness would stand at the fall of every golden age before the karmic board and say, I renew my vow, I shall remain. They will yet arise, they will yet emit light. He had so much faith in the threefold flame in each one of us. The karmic board more than once counseled him to linger no longer, that the mercy of the law had exhausted itself, that divine justice would no longer accept a sacrifice of such tremendous proportions of love without parallel. I have stood there, you have stood there, as that great dignified Lord of life quietly and firmly said, I shall remain. Then the light of Venus dimmed in his eye, and the thoughts of home receded from his sweet consciousness, lest the very pull of that love would weaken his resolve. I have stood on Venus by the side of Sanat Kumara's beloved. I have seen her filled with increasing hope as the hour of his exile neared completion. Then I have seen her turn again and walk back into the city of the sun, with her shoulders squared, her eyes facing the heart of the presence, another 1,000,000 years doing the work of others. That, my dear children, is love. That is what fires me with enthusiasm, with determination, to find among the sons and daughters of men some who would love as Venus has. That is the inspiration that has brought me to the side of Saint Germain, beloved Elmira. That is the fire that took me into the very presence of Helios and Vesta themselves, to ask for an opportunity to reach those Chelas who had served with me in many a tight corner through the ages. This is for the British Freedom Dispensation. That is the fire that beat within my heart as I stood before the great Maha Chohan, and in the face of his question made me say, I believe I can find men and women to hold the bridge, to fan the dying embers of truth, to stir the souls of men, and to set this God being free. Justice and right must prevail. Men and women who have benefited by the patience and love of Sanat Kumara, who refuse to serve when they know what he has done, it is outrageous. This is a crusade, my dear ones, in which my spirit, my soul, the very fire of my being is invested. And before I am through, there will be not one soul on this planet who has not heard the name Sanat Kumara. There will be not one incoming soul who will not kneel before his light. I ask the lords of karma to withhold a physical body from any life stream who is to come through the gates of birth until that soul agrees to use its energies to emit the light which sets that great being free. And he is free now. But he did come back again in the 1970s. And we know that he actually took a physical embodiment and he's in Indonesia. And he's come to lift the curse of Cain and the sweat of the brow from humanity. That's what the Ascended Masters told us.
To lift what?
Lift the curse of Cain and the sweat of the brow. So in other words, anyway, it's another story, but he has come back. It's such a critical time now. He's come back because he's so invested in the victory of this planet after all those millions of years. I am a man of determination and purpose. It is the will of God that men and women of earth give forth the light to make this star shine. At inner levels, it is a disgrace to look upon this sweet earth, to hear its cry, to hear its groan as it turns upon its axis, to witness the effluvia from the hearts of men that the blessed elementals are forced to clean up. Come now, my friends, let us be about our Father's business. I thank you, beloved Almira. And so now I just want to go through the rhythmic breath. We're not going to go too much through it. There's a lot of information on the website about the rhythmic breath. So the rhythmic breath is basically the breath that we breathed in the time when we never died. We breathe. It was a conscious decision to dematerialize our bodies. Now we know from even in the Old Testament, we could live to 800 or 1200 years. It was just a choice. Once we had mastered that ray, we could dematerialize our bodies. And the breath, this is the same breath that the planets breathe. And now we're in this cosmic in-breath. In other words, everything is raising in vibration. And so we're being taught, and beloved Kuthumi is very, very, as is the Maha Chohan, keen for everybody to learn and understand and daily practice this rhythmic breath. Because really the rhythmic breath is we're breathing in light consciously using the words I am. Because I myself can do nothing, but the great I am does it. I am in-breathing. Just say we're talking about, say, the blue flame of faith of Archangel Michael. I am in-breathing the blue flame of faith of Archangel Michael. We breathe it in slowly, very rhythmically, like a square. In-breathing, holding, breathing out, holding. In-breathing, we see it coming into the threefold flame in our heart, bearing in mind that is the presence of the great God within us. And then we say, I'm absorbing it, and we see it being absorbed into the four earthly bodies. Then I'm expanding it. You can literally visualize it. All those little points of light within all the little elementals, all ourselves, within them is a point of light. They take on this blue flame of faith and they just expand until we become blazing light. And then we project it out to bless all men. Because that is an unselfish breath. And that is how we create light, literally create light. And so we read, when you read about the seven great Elohim who created the planets, the great creators of form, they used the breath because they created light and used that light to create. So it's the same principle. So that we're going to learn here now. So deep rhythmic breathing, they say, truly is the fountain of youth. I am the holy breath in all life. I am the flame of divine love in the hearts of all humanity. And every breath I take becomes a blessing to assist all sentient life on their journey to enlightenment. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. So if you go onto the website, go onto Ascension Topics, scroll down, there's all these little boxes, you'll find the Rhythmic Breath of Life. Lots of information straight from the books. We don't mix it up with other things, no other types of breath, just information. And there's lots of information. I mean, you know, Scott, huh? Lots and lots of info from the beloveds. So now this is a lovely one from the beloved Maha Chohan. Just a short one, just giving us the feeling of the holiness of the breath. And then we're going to just have a practice where we'll just practice just for 5 minutes, breathing in the 7 rays and then breathing in, because the last time we breathe in is the violet flame, the energy from the 4 lower bodies to be purified. And it works like a charm. It's just extraordinary, that breath of life. Yeah. Keeps you feeling very fit, energized. It's a marvelous way to bring light into the body. Thanks, beloved.
The holy breath from the healing chalice. Beloved children of the one breath, inbreathing the divine essence of God being, know thou that within my breath abides the fullness of thy God perfection. Pulsating within thy mortal forms, the breath of my being imparts its life, intelligence, and power for the use of each individual self as it functions in the world of form. I am that breath. Within it is my perfection for thee. Breath is the divine fuel empowering the motor of thy beings. Within it are the powers of which thou hast not yet even dreamed. Man uses the divine essence of myself and with abandon wastes its priceless energies in the dissipations of the flesh. Children of my heart, children of my breath, be thou still and know me. Breathe into thyselves the flame breath of the Father, Mother God. Love the breath, for within it abides the fullness of all thy heart's desires. Bless each breath as it gently enlivens thy mortal forms with its vitalizing presence within thine own separate worlds. Absorb the fiery essence of the breath, recharging all the substance of thy beings with God life. Renew thyselves with each new breath. O children of my heart, I am the will of God within thy breath. I am the love of God within thy breath. I am the cohesive essence of that will and that love. I am the flaming breath of thine own God selves. If thou dost will it so, it can set thee free. Permit my breath to stimulate into renewed action the dulled senses which abide within thine own potentialities. Fan the flame of freedom, which my breath is, until every electron within thy being becomes a star of light. Disease, unhappiness, fear, pain, distress, and all the limitations of the flesh are outcasts in the flaming breath of my being. Either thou must breathe the air of earth, polluted by the wayward desires of other men, or raising thine own heartbeats unto me, accept the holy breath of me, thy God, who made thee, and walk the earth in freedom's flame. I am thy breath. I am thy freedom now, from deep within the secret place within thee, breathing deeply of the divine essence of the God presence, which is myself. Feel the expansion of that flaming breath within thee. Let the burden of thy limitations and distress be transformed into happiness, beauty, and perfection, with which it was at first endowed. Breathe in this fiery breath from God's perfection. So let's now breathe in the beautiful, fiery breath of God's perfection. As we breathe in, we hold the breath, we breathe out, and we hold the breath. We say inwardly, I am inbreathing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am absorbing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am expanding the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am projecting the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am inbreathing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am absorbing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am expanding the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am projecting the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am inbreathing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am absorbing the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am expanding the fiery breath of God's perfection. I am projecting the fiery breath of God's perfection. And so be it, beloved I am.
Like if I'm on a bus or something, I often just sit there, I'm inbreathing the fiery breath of God's perfection. And there you are, you're just sending it all out quietly, just like Scott says, to know, to dare, to do, and to be silent. We don't have to say a word. We can do loads and loads of things, and those rays go out. Don't forget, your presence can send out from each one, for our presence to us, billions of light rays. They go out and they just saturate all the people in the bus, all the surrounding areas. They just keep going, doing their great work.
Well, look what Peter said today about his violet fire reaching.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's never ending. And that light is conscious and intelligent. It seeks out those in need. It's absolutely brilliant. So there it is. So now we're going to practice. So this is just to get into it again, right? So we've got 4 steps. All breathing is always done through the nostrils, not through the mouth, right? So I'm in-breathing. We're breathing a nice and slowly, just like a square. In-breathing all the same length. In-breathing, absorbing for the same length of time, absorbing it and feeling it in our body. Feeling is the key, and visualizing. So if just say you're in-breathing the pink flame of divine love of beloved Chamuel, we're going to feel that divine love saturating our own bodies, and then all life as it goes out to bless the world. I'm expanding as we're breathing out, just like if you've got the bellows on a fire, you breathe out, exactly the same principle. The breath expands the light. And then projecting, you hold the breath and you just see those rays going out doing their perfect work. But all done with the I am, because all the statements are prefaced with I am. Because we can't do it, but the I am does it. All right, so on the in-breath, we breathe in the qualities contained within the flame. We're going to do a very short thing. It's just 5 minutes. We're going to breathe in from the 4 higher bodies, the 7 rays, and then the 4 lower bodies. So as you hold the breath in, absorb the qualities deep within every part of your being. As you breathe out again, expand and increase the power and momentum of the divine qualities you are calling forth through the power of the holy breath. And then as you hold the breath out of your body, project these magnificent God qualities forth to all life. So we repeat it. All right. And there's, as I said earlier, go onto the website, iamfree.co.za. And then you'll get a lot of information. Scroll down till you get to the rhythmic breath. So we just got 5 minutes of that, and then we're finished.
And what color?
She's giving me that the clock there.
And feels what color?
So you'll get it. I'm in-breathing the blue flame of faith of beloved Archangel Michael. It's all clearly told you. Yeah. So you're breathing in the Archangel's flame because they can bring us the feeling. Because they are the feeling aspect, aren't they? The angels. So that's why the Ascended Masters use that. So now we're going to play that, beloved. So go on to the next one. So it's not too fast, but it's not too slow, because not everybody's that adept at breathing. Once you get the hang of it, you won't need to download it. You can download the recording, but you'll get to know it off by heart. You can do it wherever you're driving or whatever. Thank you. So we start.
This is a recording for daily breathing exercises. We always start off by calling by the power, the love, and the authority of our beloved I Am Presence to an Ascended Master of our choice. We can say something like,
Beloved Divine Presence, through your blessed love, power, and authority, I invoke, you might want to call to Beloved Lord Cthulhu or any Ascended Master that you particularly like to call to.
Beloved Cthulhu, should we call to him because he's great? Help us.
And we all start by invoking and speaking directly to our beloved immortal threefold flame within our heart. And it's suggested by Lord Cthulhu that we say, we can all say this together, beloved immortal threefold flame of truth within my heart, expand, 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 and do thy cosmic work. Then we empty our lungs and we start the breathing exercises. We breathe in. I am in-breathing the divine plan fulfilled for my beloved I am. I am absorbing the divine plan fulfilled for my beloved I am. I am expanding the divine plan fulfilled for my beloved I am. I am projecting the divine plan fulfilled for my beloved I am. I am in-breathing all the accumulated good in my causal body. I am absorbing all the accumulated good in my causal body. I am expanding all the accumulated good in my causal body. I am projecting all the accumulated good in my causal body. I am in-breathing the nature of God for my beloved Holy Christ Self. I am absorbing the nature of God for my beloved Holy Christ Self. I am expanding the nature of God for my beloved Holy Christ Self. I am projecting the nature of God for my beloved Holy Christ Self. I am in-breathing the blue flame of faith, beloved Archangel Michael. I am absorbing the blue flame of faith of beloved Archangel Michael. I am expanding the blue flame of faith of beloved Archangel Michael. I am projecting the blue flame of faith of beloved Archangel Michael. I am in-breathing the golden yellow flame of wisdom of beloved Jophiel. I am absorbing the golden yellow flame of wisdom of beloved Jophiel. I am expanding the golden yellow flame of wisdom of beloved Jophiel. I am projecting the golden yellow flame of wisdom of beloved Jophiel. I am in-breathing the pink flame of divine love of beloved Chamuel. I am absorbing the pink flame of divine love of beloved Chamuel. I am expanding the pink flame of divine love of beloved Chamuel. I am projecting the pink flame of divine love of beloved Chamuel. I am in-breathing the white flame of purity of beloved Gabriel. I am absorbing the white flame of purity of beloved Gabriel. I am expanding the white flame of purity of beloved Gabriel. I am projecting the white flame of purity of beloved Gabriel. I am in-breathing the green flame of truth of beloved Raphael. I am absorbing the green flame of truth of beloved Raphael. I am expanding the green flame of truth of beloved Raphael. I am projecting the green flame of truth of beloved Raphael. I am in-breathing the ruby gold flame of peace of beloved Uriel. I am absorbing the ruby gold flame of peace of beloved Uriel. I am expanding the ruby gold flame of peace of beloved Uriel. I am projecting the ruby gold flame of peace of beloved Uriel. I am in-breathing the violet flame of transmutation of beloved Amethyst. I am absorbing the violet flame of transmutation of beloved Amethyst. I am expanding the violet flame of transmutation of beloved Amethyst. I am projecting the violet flame of transmutation of beloved Amethyst. I am in-breathing for purification all the energy in my feeling world. I am absorbing for purification all the energy in my feeling world. I am expanding that purified energy of Christ's perfection into my feeling world. I am projecting that purified energy of Christ's perfection into my feeling world. I am in-breathing for purification all the energy of my mental world. I am absorbing for purification all the energy in my mental world. I am expanding this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my mental world. I am projecting this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my mental world. I am in-breathing for purification all the energy in my etheric world. I am absorbing for purification all the energy in my etheric world. I am expanding this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my etheric world. I am projecting this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my etheric world. I am inbreathing for purification all the energy in my physical world. I am absorbing for purification all the energy in my physical world. I am expanding this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my physical world. I am projecting this purified energy of Christ's perfection into my physical world. And we always remember through our breathing exercises that the I am presence is in action, because all the statements are prefaced with I am. And so we give deep love and gratitude to our I am presence, the threefold flame in our heart, and the beloved Ascended Master that assisted us. We thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we've got